House sale timeline. The house on the market. Let me see if you're in.
Oh no, I'm in.
You're hit that
Not so bad today.
Is she groaning?
Oh, it's just old man noises. Just your standard basic stuff.
Can you read all that?
Well enough, yeah.
Okay. It's a long one.
It's a long one. Good afternoon and welcome to the Return Homestead. Well, it's a new Return Homestead, huh? We've returned to a returning.
We're kind of returning.
Yeah, we're kind of returning. So we decided we needed to move, and we're gonna review with you guys exactly why we made that decision. It's not a simple thing to do. In fact, it was one of the hardest things that we've ever done.
It was the most difficult move of all.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm never doing it again.
No, you couldn't compel me to want to move again. But I'm glad we did. We managed to get where we wanted to go. This is exactly the property we intended to buy when we moved to Kentucky in the first place. So when we were packaging up and getting ready to leave Nevada, it was because of a lack of resources. We didn't have the water that we needed there in order to be able to raise the food that we needed just to support ourselves. That's all we're really trying to do is figure out how to support ourselves, to grow all the food that we need, and to take care of other needs like water and even electricity. Manage to take care of all of those right here on property. That's sort of the goal.
Plus, I have a very good friend who is also my realtor, called and told me we sold the Nevada house at just the right time. They are putting in a massive data warehouse. What was it? Over 6 million square feet?
Yeah, it's a huge data warehouse.
And we already didn't have water there. So you can imagine what that's going to do to the water table. So the Lord took care of us in that way.
Yeah, we just knew we didn't have any water out there. We didn't know how bad it was going to get. And this data center is literally right across the street from where our house was. So that house is now going to be even less water there than there was when we left. So we were glad to get to Kentucky. We had the water that we needed, and we just ended up on, it was a vertical property, really.
We could get down to the lake once in a while. If the weather was very wet or snowy, we couldn't get down at all. Well, we would have gotten down, but we would have gotten down the hard way. So we just didn't go down there. We didn't utilize most of the property. We actually only utilized about 6 acres.
Yeah, at most it was about 6 acres, and there was still lots of acreage to be used, and we had plans to use it. I was going to start taking down trees this next year to open up pasture and allow us to get other larger animals besides the chickens and take care of them appropriately there on that property. But when I started looking at trying to open up all of that ground and thinking about taking down all of those trees, and we didn't have any machinery to work with, so it's all going to be done by hand and basically just come-alongs and snatch blocks and whatever we can figure out to drag logs up out of the bottom. It would have been
a lot of work.
8 to 10 years of clearing trees and putting up fencing.
Now, you guys, we have been remodeling for 8 years.
8 long years.
And we did not want to continue working ourselves to death because we were neglecting the return to life.
Yeah.
And all we were doing was working. We were tired, we were exhausted. We just couldn't keep that lifestyle, and it wasn't allowing us to be self-sustainable. We did have a great garden, but it really did tie our hands when it came to putting livestock on the property.
Yeah, the chickens are doing great. I mean, we get plenty of eggs from the chickens. We love eating eggs, so we've got plenty of food. And the garden gives us all of the other produce that we need. It's been doing a fair job, but that garden didn't produce very well this year because
we were remodeling.
We were busy remodeling, yeah.
So we decided at that point we were going to put the property up for sale. Now, when we sold our house in Nevada, it sold the first day.
First showing.
Yes, and we weren't ready to move. So we had to find something fast. Now, my recommendation, if you want to step up and be debt-free, buy ugly and fix it up. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
We bought two of the ugliest houses we could have ever bought, and we fixed them up. And we increased our net worth in order to be able to buy this property that we have here. With blood, sweat, and tears, we were able to finally get the property we wanted.
Yeah, this is the place that we set out to buy when we set out to move to Kentucky in the first place. So we're really happy that this has all worked out. We've actually gotten everything moved in. We are completely off of the other property. We've turned over the keys to the new owner. We are completely done with that property, and it has been quite an adventure. And so that's kind of what we wanted to share with you today, is exactly what this adventure looked like, and try to give you some idea why we weren't telling you about the story while it was happening. You'll have to understand, I was working a 40-hour-a-week job. We were pushing the remodel ahead even harder and faster because we needed to finish if we were going to sell it. Plus, we had all the gardening that we were doing. We've had quite a few problems with the vehicle, so vehicle issues became a really big deal, and we'll share all of that with you here in a minute. But all of this took up our entire day. I mean, there was absolutely nothing left. We were getting up well before the sun came up and going to bed well after the sun went down. And
we lost a lot of sleep in this whole journey, nightmare, whatever you want to call it.
We kind of knew walking into this what we were getting ourselves into, because what we were asking was that the entire world stop what they were doing and shift the way that they think in order for us to live in a new location. But we decided, I think we started talking about this back in February when Bailey came to stay with us for a bit. June?
No.
When we finally started talking serious?
Yeah, it was June when Bailey decided that homesteading wasn't on his to-do list. We knew we couldn't take care of it by ourselves.
Yep.
And so at that point we decided it's time to find maybe a smaller property and one that is completed. We've always bought ugly, fixed it up, and sold it. And we weren't going to do that this time.
No, not this
Now,
time.
we almost did. We started looking at properties in July.
Yep.
And we went and looked at the sweetest Amish farm. But the whole upstairs still needed drywall, doors, trim. And we did put an offer in on that house.
Yep.
And the next morning, this house popped up in my email. And I said to Mike, it's too bad we put that offer in, because this house just came on the market.
Just came on. Yep.
And it was less expensive. What was it, an hour or two later, we found out that the realtor that was holding the Amish property said, well, we got a good offer, but we'll keep you as a backup. But let's back up.
Yeah, let's back up all the way to at least where we listed the house on the market. So that's really the big decision time, the go time. We know we're sticking our neck into the chopping block at that point, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen. So that was July 26th. We finally decided it was time to get it on the market, get everything ready to go so that we could get it listed and get it sold.
So that's when we went and looked at this house. Now, we have looked at selling our homes, putting it on the market, and buying a new home to have our sale immediately and us know where to go. And that's when you make decisions like buying two mobile homes in a neighborhood that you didn't really want to be in.
Yeah, that's how we ended up where we were, was just at the last minute, it's what was available. So we wanted to try to avoid that this time. So we started by looking at houses before we even put ours on the market. So we went out and went through the entire market looking at everything that had anything more than 5 acres on it. If it was more than 5 acres and within our price range, we wanted to have a good long look at it. And most of the time, we weren't even going out to see these properties. So we're evaluating them based on their location. We know where the tornadoes tend to go through the state now, and we want to make sure we're staying out of Tornado Alley. We know where the flooding problems occur now. And so we wanted to make sure we stayed away from any flooding issues. So we ended up buying on the top of a ridge. Everything we looked at while we were looking at houses ended up on the top of a ridge. There were quite a few properties we really liked that we never went to see because they were down in a bottom. They had a creek running right next to the house, or there was a bridge in the driveway that crossed the creek. And we just kind of crossed those off the list. Didn't even go see them because no matter how nice it is, it doesn't do you any good once the bridge is washed out.
And they're expensive to fix. So there was one sweet place with a covered bridge I wanted to look at so badly. But if that bridge goes out, you're stuck. So be careful what you buy.
Be careful what you look at. Make sure your eyes are open and you're looking at the entire property.
Yes.
Right. It's an easy thing to do. The real estate industry is set up to show you a house, and they'll show you the house all day long. But when you're talking about buying a property that has 50 acres, you need to put eyeballs on all 50 acres. Don't assume that what's just over the rise is acceptable to you. You need to look at all of it.
Plus, we had pretty 50 acres.
We had a good 50 acres. That was a beautiful property.
And if I was 20, it would have been great.
It would have been perfect. We'd have stayed there because we'd have been able to finish what we wanted to do. So we decided to get the house on the market. We started looking. We saw the Amish house, and we put in an offer on that place. And this was not an easy thing to do. It was, almost 3 hours out to that property. It was 2 hours from where we were living to this property. So this is another hour further out. Really nice house.
Was nice.
I loved it. It's 3 stories, full basement. Had a beautiful barn, man. The barn was like a custom job somebody had built for himself. It was absolutely glorious.
Now, it was wired for electricity, but the electricity wasn't in. And like I said, the whole top floor needed finish.
Yeah, so they hadn't actually put in any of the electrical appliances. They just put wires inside of the walls, and none of the upstairs was done. So all of the drywall, tape, mud, paint, all of the flooring, every bit of that had to be done upstairs. And it was a huge house. And it's just the two of us. What was it, like 3,600 square feet? So it was a really big house. But we thought, you know what, we can be comfortable here. This is exactly what we're looking for. So we went ahead and made an offer. And it just got rejected almost immediately.
Yep. It was a cash offer too.
Cash offer. Now it was contingent on our other property selling. And they said they had a better offer. I don't know where they got a better offer at the same time they got our offer, but they claimed that they did, and they pursued that offer and just kept us in their back pocket. Well, that same day was the day that this house came back on the market. So we told our agent, hey, just get us an appointment over there. We'll come see you tomorrow. We'll go look at it. So we did. When we came out, had a look at it, there were a few issues, but for the most part, it was exactly what we were looking for.
Right.
Smaller acreage, so it's only 6 acres here. It's on the top of the ridge, literally the top of the ridge. So we don't have any flooding issues. We do have a pond on the property. It's going to need some attention, but it's here. It's already in place. All the trees are cut down.
Yep.
Yeah, so we don't have any logging to do. We do have some cross fencing to put up, but we can essentially put in a small section of perimeter fence. There's one small section of fencing that's missing. And if we put that back up, we could turn sheep loose on the property right away. So it's ready to go for the ruminant animals. So we put the house on the market. We decided we wanted to make an offer on this place. And that's when everything really just started to fall apart on us.
Well, we had a 30-day kickout on this house. And that means if we don't have a contract on the house we're selling, because it was contingent, they could kick us off the offer and sell it out from under us. So we were really taking a chance at this point. And this is when things started getting tense.
And they got tense because in order to finish up the remodel, in order to be able to sell it, we had to dip into our finances. So we had to go in and finance things. We didn't have the cash on hand to finish the remodel. That was the whole point, by the way, of us doing a remodel on a budget. We didn't have the money to go in and finish it will-nil. We couldn't just step in and do it.
No.
And so we were taking a risk financing all of that additional repair work that needed to be done to finish the remodel. So we stepped into it immediately, got busy getting that work done. That's also when we had problems with the truck. So, wow, we had
one vehicle.
only the one vehicle, and we had problems with the brakes. So I put on new brake pads, everything was fine.
Until he was coming home one day and had no brakes. Now you had to go down a long driveway to get to our house. And thank the Lord he made it safely.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't find anybody to work on it. We finally found a great guy that lived right down the street, and he fixed it up almost immediately. And it was at a great price. So we finally got the truck running.
So we got the truck fixed, but y'all gotta understand, while this is going on, we're starting to go back and forth with the real estate agents about the different documentation that needs to be provided and what we're gonna have to go through in order to make the sale and the purchase. We're trying to finish the remodel, so we're also trying to buy all the resources and finish up the work that needed to be done on the remodel. I'm trying to do the work on the truck, and I'm not a mechanic, and it took us 3 days to get the brakes fixed. So all of this is going on at one time.
So then we had to push to get the house onto the market. I wanted it on the market ASAP because we knew we were going to lose this house. We had 30 days.
30 days.
That was it. And we're pushing. He's going to send out, our realtor was going to send out a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
We're already getting appointments. As soon as it went live, we got appointments. And then the septic backed up
Yes.
into the brand new shower.
Yes. Yeah. So that was a really wonderful phone call to get while I was at work. Just keep in mind that during all this time, I'm still doing a 40-hour work week too. So we're trying to get all of this done with the 40-hour work week stuck in there. And then the septic backs up. So now I'm digging up septic lines, scheduling trucks to come out and pump the septic tank, figuring out how to repair the septic. While I'm also working on the brakes on the truck, by the way, this is all taking place at the same time.
You found a leak.
We found the leak, got the
In
leak
the
repaired,
Had it pumped.
had it pumped.
We've got people coming in to look at the house at this point.
Yeah, we're already showing the house, even though the septic is non-functional at that point.
And then we got an offer on the house. And we got an offer on the house on August 14th. Now, it was 2 weeks, and that's the longest we've ever had to wait to get an offer. But this guy fell in love with the property instantly. He was there talking to us 3 hours. He loved it. He wanted it bad. So we did get the offer on the house.
So while we had the mobile mechanic doing the repairs on the brakes, we also had the inspector come by to do the inspection on the house.
And refused to do it.
Well, actually, that was the appraiser. So the inspector came by, but he showed up 2 hours early.
We weren't expecting him.
Caught our grandson getting him out of bed, knocking on the door in the morning.
That
So
was
had
on the
inspector show
20th.
up. Yep.
That was the 20th.
Then the first appraiser shows up, and he refused to do the appraisal.
Now, if you're taking an offer on a house and it's going FHA, you're going to get a lot of appraisers refuse to do it. Plus, we were in an unusual situation. We had a farm property. We had 2 addresses, 2 homes, and a barn, and a cabin all on one property, and he wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, so the appraisers were afraid of doing the appraisal because it was FHA and because it was a non-standard property. Again, the whole real estate business is set up to show you a house. That's it. They're selling you a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom. And in the real estate industry's mind, that's all a house is. And so they don't care about the acreage or any of the rest of it.
So after the 3rd try, they finally got an appraiser out.
Yeah, it took 3 tries. The first 2 appraisers just flat refused to do the appraisal, just left the property.
Now on the 20th of August, we had the inspection done on this house, and we were there for the inspection. And everything we had a couple things that had to be fixed. We had some moisture behind a toilet that had been installed improperly. We had screws backing out of the metal roofing, and they fixed all of that. The inspector did a great job. We got it taken care of. The inspection on the property we were selling, the buyer didn't want anything fixed. They pointed out a couple things. We had a broken window and stuff like that. He said, nope, I want the property, let it go. So he converted from a FHA to a commercial loan in order to get an appraiser out. So keep that in mind. Like I said, FHA, you're going to have a problem. Went to a conventional. It went to a conventional loan.
Yeah, once it got to a conventional loan, then the appraiser was willing to do the appraisal, and it appraised just fine.
Now, prior to that, we were told the appraisal was already done, and that was on the 26th of August, that it was a drive-by appraisal.
Drive-by appraisal.
That's what we were told. And then we get a call saying, hey, an appraiser's coming by. And that was the second one. And it was finally the third guy that came by. Now, don't be afraid to ask the appraiser how you're looking. That's what my friend told me to do. So I looked at him and I said, so how's it looking? Because we didn't know if it was going to appraise or not. And we'll get to that in a minute. But he says, it'll appraise. That took that stress off of us because we wanted to pay cash for this.
Yep.
And in order for us to pay cash for this, we had to have it appraised at full value, and it did.
Well, and our appraisal was complicated by the fact that we did so much work on the property. So when we bought it at a certain price, and here we are 4 years later, we're selling it for a substantially larger price, and all the financial people get very interested in that. Now, the person buying the house, he couldn't care less what I paid for it 4 years ago. It doesn't matter to him. But the finance company, they're very interested in what was paid for it 4 years ago. So there's always going to be some sort of an argument or a pushback if there's an increase in value. And there was a substantial increase. And so there was a substantial bit of back and forth with the finance company. Obviously.
Which didn't get converted to a conventional loan until the 2nd of September. Now, this started in July, and this is now September. We're well into our 30-day kickout rate on this house. But because this house is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, it's big footprint, but it is only 2-bedroom. We were pretty confident we could hold the place just by keeping our name on it, and we were able to. Not as many people want a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and for us, it's fine. It's exactly the right size, in fact. So when the appraiser came out, that was actually on the 10th of September. So we're going on 2 months now.
2 months, yeah.
Then the drama started. That wasn't the drama. The drama started when the lender got involved, and because one of the mobile homes was converted to real property, and the other one was not, they needed the title for the one that was not.
So this gets really confusing, and a lot of people have difficulty with this when mobile homes are involved with the real estate. But the mobile home is a mobile piece of property. It has tags or a license just like a vehicle would. So they're tracked by the state as a movable piece of property. If you want to treat it like real estate so that the finance company can put their full weight behind it in a financial situation, you have to convert it to real property, removing its ability to be moved off of the property again. So you basically take the tag away from it, take the license away, and then it's permanently on that property and it becomes real property at that point. So we had one house that had been converted. It was real property, and another one that had not been converted. Well, the one that had not been converted to real property, when we paid cash for the property 4 years ago, the title company didn't care about that title at all. They just ignored it. And they only cared about the real property. So they made sure they dealt with that title fine and not with the title to the other mobile home.
That's where the trouble started.
Yeah, that's where the trouble started because the finance company, for some reason, decided they wanted to convert that to real property while it went through escrow, and so they insisted that we have clean title. which meant we had to go back to the original owner and ask for a signature on the title to transfer it.
Now, if you think things are bad in the world, this peach held our title for ransom.
Yeah.
She said since we had money to make on the property, she deserved it. Now, keep in mind, when we bought the house, we paid her full price.
Yeah.
No inspections.
No inspections.
We gave her things. The barn was completely hoarded. We gave her anything we found of value. We called her. She'd come pick it up. Now she's saying, fine, she'll give us the title, but we had to pay her $5,000 to get it.
So she was going to extort us for $5,000 just to transfer the title to us so that we could then transfer it to the new owner.
And sell. Now, we put 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears into that property, and we loved it those 4 years. But she had this sense of entitlement that just absolutely blew my mind. I couldn't believe somebody could be that evil, but she was. And we had just put every dime we had into the property. We didn't have the money to pay her $5,000 to get our title.
No, well, like I said, we had been financing, so we were using our credit cards in order to finish the remodel. I didn't have any money to pay to an extortioner. We weren't going to negotiate with her either. I had no intention of negotiating with any extortioner for any reason. Fortunately, our real estate agent stepped up and
he stepped up in
he
a big way.
negotiated something for us. I don't know what he negotiated. I don't know how he resolved it, but he took care of it. Yeah, so that was sort of the icing on the cake. The cherry on top was the extortion that came our way just because we wanted to sell our house. Strangely enough, it was kind of comical. We managed to get the title, so we did go down to meet with her at the county clerk's office, and we got the title transferred to our name. And I had the title in my hand at escrow and closing, and the title company never asked us for it.
We still have it.
We still have it. It didn't get transferred to the new owner. It was so critical for the finance company that they never even asked for it.
Now we are going to do the right thing, and we're going to meet with him. We'll have to go down to the courthouse and have it transferred into his name. He travels a lot, so
it may take a while, but we're not going to charge him anything for transferring the title.
No. So after we get the title in hand, we had to send 3 times a picture of the title to the lender. We sent it 3 times, and for some reason they'd lose it. So we send it again. Then we were supposed to close on the 14th of September. I hadn't even started packing much. We have a lot of food that we were moving, and we had 2 houses and a full barn to move.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to pack until this thing was going to go through because I don't like living out of boxes. Escrow was going to close on the 14th. By 9:15, they still didn't have the appraisal that was done on the 10th. And then the buyer had to go on a business trip. And he was out of country from the 20th to the 28th. Now, since we had a contract on the house, this house was locked in, so we weren't going to lose it. But I still couldn't pack. So I had to wait until the buyer got back in country. You'd think this would have been a big hurrah day, but we were so exhausted and stressed at this point. We just kind of went through it numbly.
Yep.
We were about ready to close, and the lender called back and said, hey, we need a structural engineer to come out. We'll be there on the 20th at 1 o'clock. And he says, we're here to look at the one that was converted to the mobile home. And he said, I asked him again, how we looking? He says, you've got a couple of things to fix. Well, when they put the porch on the upper house, you don't ever attach a porch to a mobile home. They did. And he said, we want you to put a couple of posts on the back porch to make it look like it's not attached to the house. You can screw them into the top of the porch and the decking, but just make it look that way. And if you'll send me those pictures, I'll sign off on it. So we ran out and bought 4x4s, put fake faux beams up, sent him the
Posts
pictures,
up on the back porch.
and he signed off on it.
Signed off.
Now we're thinking we're good to go. So I was finally able to start packing. Now this is on 10/1. And we were told by our realtor that we needed to be able to vacate the property on the closing date, which was supposed to be around the 1st. There's no way. We had a 4-hour round trip. We didn't have the movers scheduled at this point.
Yeah, we were pretty fortunate that he wasn't going to be moving into the house anytime soon. So his family's not going to be here for another month. And so he didn't really care how long it took us to get our stuff off of the property. So for, what was that, 5 days?
Yeah.
Was that a full 7 days?
It was a week.
More like 10 days.
We were driving back and forth 4 hours at a time, moving stuff as well as having movers.
I think, yeah, the movers came, they got the vast majority of everything moved for us, but all the machinery and the animal moves, that took place over the next, I think it was 10 days. And we would get up each morning and drive 2 hours back to the old homestead and collect what we could and drive back here and offload it and do it again the next day. And eventually we finally got everything moved here onto the property. And you heard what happened to the chickens in the process.
Yeah. I lost some chickens. Since they've kept their dogs tied up, we haven't lost any more chickens, but we do need to work on the perimeter fencing because we have had other dogs since come visit, and it's very common here in Kentucky for dogs to be running wild. And
so we've had quite an adventure getting moved on to the new return homestead, but we are finally here. Everything is on the property. We've got the chickens moved in. They're secure out there. We've got some traps that I picked the traps up this morning because they're just, the ants are eating the peanut butter off of the traps. So yeah, the neighbor's trying to tell us it wasn't his dogs, but we haven't been able to trap anything out there. The ants are eating the bait out of the traps.
we have installed cameras out
We
there.
have installed cameras.
So if you do have an animal stalking your livestock or poultry, make sure you have it documented.
Get it documented.
Again, my good friend, realtor from Nevada, she's full of information. And she says, document it. You do have a right to kill, which is the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, we don't want to harm anybody's animals, especially not pets. But if your pet is hassling livestock, then that's your problem and your responsibility, and you need to take care of your animal. So keep your animals at home. If they can't manage to be safe around livestock, don't let them run loose.
Now that house is currently up for sale. If you're a good homesteader,
come on, move in.
Move in. We could be neighbors, and it's the only neighbor we really have out
That
here.
would be it.
And they have a beautiful property with 100 feet of.
Oh, they got about a mile of river frontage there. So real nice place.
It is, but
Real nice place.
at any point, if you ever buy a mobile home, get that title.
Get the title. Make sure it's handled correctly in escrow. Pay very close attention to all of those titles. If anything on the property has a serial number, you should get the title to it. That would include any trailers, machinery. For instance, we have four-wheelers and lawnmowers that we purchased with the property when we purchased it 4 years ago, and we did not get titles on those, and we should have. So take a close look at those things, and if possible, get those titles just to make sure you don't have any complications later on down the road.
Now, we're not totally moved in. We still have boxes, which is highly unusual for me. But after all the stress we went through with this house, the last house sale, we're kind of tired.
We're kind of tired.
But we are getting things put away, and
Well,
I mean
think
it.
about this. We're coming up on November 1st.
Yeah.
We actually started moving on October 1st. and we're still moving. So it's taken us a month to get to this point. It's going to take a full month to make this move. Just getting the machinery and the animals moved onto the property took a lot longer than expected.
Plus, we still have infrastructure to build. We still have garden beds that have to go in. We still need to build a chicken coop.
Chicken coops. We got all kinds of stuff.
So it can be a lot of work, but it's very rewarding work. So don't shy away from it. If it's your dream, go after it. We finally got the home we dreamed of. We had to work through it. But the Lord opened the door for us each time. This is not the first bad experience we've had in real estate.
Oh, no.
We tried to buy a home, and right after we were going to put an offer in, it burned down.
We've had them burned down. We've had the buyer or the seller suddenly decide overnight when she's supposed to be signing the paperwork, she decides she's not going to sell or doesn't want to sell to us, so won't sign. We had a guy die in the house when we went to make an offer, and took 2 weeks to get our offer rejected because, well,
they finally found him.
Another
one flooded out.
Another one flooded out. So yeah, we've had plenty of problems and complications with real estate.
But we were protected the whole time, just like this one.
Yep.
If we'd had to move into the Amish house, it would have been a nice house, but we would still be working on remodels. And the Lord closed that door for us, opened this one, and besides lighting, you might notice it's a little dark in here. This house that has really poor lighting, and we like a lot of light, so we will have to fix this. But who else can live in a house with a tree in the middle of their living room?
Got a tree in the living room. So this is really a nice place. We're really thrilled that the Lord's allowed us to move into this place.
And it's our forever home.
It's our forever home. We're not moving again. We're not going to do this another time. There would be no reason to. We have everything that we need here. There's even a well already on the property. It's a very old well, but we'll figure out how to refit and reuse that. We've got all the pasture that we need. We can put up fencing. We can build chicken coops. We're pretty well set out here. Plus, we're at the end of a road. We're in the middle of farm country, just surrounded by cattle. That's all that's out here.
As far as the lighting goes, we have open beams. You should probably show that.
Yeah, so the whole house is just wood, and so the beams are just open beams. There's no drywalled ceiling up top. So we've got to figure out how we're going to get lighting in here when there's no drywall to hide the slimline, can lights inside of. So it's a different kind of lighting scenario than what we're used to. I'm used to being able to pop lights in wherever I want them, and here I've got to deal with the open beams and how do I get power to the thing. So if you have any ideas on how to deal with open beams, let us know.
Plus, the whole back wall is underground.
Oh, yeah.
This is a log berm house. So this wall behind me is underground. So is this wall over here that you can't see. We're underground. In fact, if a tornado was going to go here, the shower is the best place to go down here because it's underground. So with that said, it's not like we can just run lines from the outside to the inside. So we're thinking of track lighting, anything that would bring lighting in here. Now we do have big windows out in the front, but it does nothing for the kitchen, which is extremely dark. So if you have any suggestions or you've overcome this, leave us a message.
Yeah.
And that's
we've got a lot of living to do here. We have big plans. Obviously, we've had big plans since we started doing the channel, and we intend to continue doing the channel. We enjoy making these videos. We have seen the world kind of starting to fray a little bit at the edges, and so we're very anxious that our message go out. It's time for everybody to return to the land, return to labor, and return to life. This has been one homesteader's adventure. Go and have your own. Go find a piece of land and figure out how to return to the land. Get busy doing the work, return to the labor, and then figure out some way to return to life. We're starting to figure out that the world has way more things for you to pay attention to than are actually good for you. So get to where you can be quiet and be still for a little while. And
we look forward to sitting down.
yeah,
Take the winter off. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to take it off from videos. In fact, we're going to step up our game on videos and bring you along with us. But we've got to get some lighting in this house, and we've got to replace some plumbing fixtures. But other than that, we're not doing any remodeling. So we're going to switch our platform a little bit more from a remodel to a homesteading video. And we want to bring new animals on the property now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start living the life, returning to life, a little bit more than what we did. So we'll hope you'll join us and come along. If this is the kind of video you like, give us a thumbs up. Help encourage us. Leave us a comment. What have you overcome in the past? And until we see you next time, thank you, God bless, and bye-bye. So you might have to talk about it.
oh yeah.